Both literature and history have shaped our perceptions of prison conditions within the United States of America. When asked about particular characteristics of prison, for instance, many will perhaps say uncaring correction officers, an uncomfortable prison cell, or bleak conditions of life. Inspired by stories of fiction or the tumultuous history underlying such state prisons, healthcare conditions are another area with healthcare, of course, within prisons are an important area of public policy that often goes unacknowledged within the public, especially within the realm of pregnant or expectant inmates. Within a politically charged atmosphere, where many of these critical areas tend to go overlooked with other social issues, what are some of the resources within state prisons for incarcerated persons who are expecting, about to give birth, and postpartum? Within answering this interesting policy question, the following areas will be examined. First, the policy initiatives unique to both Texas and California state prisons concerning pregnancy, birth, and postpartum resources will be explained. Second, the recommendations by medical professionals concerning the field will be examined and applied to research concerning the case studies of both states. And last, final commentary concerning the previous fields will be given, along with a conclusion. Our first case study for today is going to be the state of Texas, specifically state prisons. And according to a Texas Department of Criminal Justice report filed in 2024, within Texas prisons there were 7,996 pregnancies, 8,888 within 2023. And moreover, 66 births occurred from inmates who were currently serving a sentence within these Texas state prisons within 2024. And some of the resources that these inmates were entitled to fell under the Texas State Prison Code, and some of them are as follows. For example, the Texas Commission on Jail Standards, Chapter 273.2, Health and Human Services Plan, states that pregnant inmates are entitled to additional health care services, quote, including gynecological services, OBGYN, mental health services, and all else appropriate. No dates. Some of these medical services include tests for medical disorders, which appears in the report, as for example, 24 inmates were tested and found to require extra treatment during the course of their pregnancy, according to Texas Department of Criminal Justice, 2024. Well, harkening back to a previous note from the Texas Jail Project, as they state that some inmates may be exempt from restraint during medical procedures or birth. The 2024 report from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice refers to restraints as shackling. However, the report emphasizes that shackling is only used when, for example, required, and not utilized when perhaps there is no, compelling medical reason. The data from the report, however, can give us insight into when, for example, shackling was used. According to that same report, medical escort accounted for 27%, medical transport 31%, just transport as a vague blanket term 24%, and escort, in between the prisons as 18%. These sources within the report demonstrate that shackling was primarily used, obviously, for transport or movement, not during, extenuating circumstances such as birth. It is also important to note that rights from shackling, for instance, can be mitigated, as shackling, for example, is used on pregnant inmates for transportation or when they are posing a threat to the health and safety of others, prison officials, or themselves, and is only used when given by the consent of a chief medical professional or a state prison director, according to case text. But moreover, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, in 2009, the state banned, quote, the use of restraints on pregnant inmates during labor, delivery, and recover from delivery, ACLU 2024. However, if an incident does occur, or something does happen, where an individual will have the chance to address it under a recently passed House Bill 1140 within the state of Texas, which this bill requires the Texas Jail Commission to send a questionnaire to each jail or prison about the conditions that pregnant inmates are experiencing, according to the Texas Commission on Jail Standards 2016. Next, we have the initiatives provided for pregnancy, childbirth, and postpartum within the state of Texas. For example, the first one is the Department of Justice for the state of Texas has what's called a Baby and Mother Bonding Initiative, or BAMBI. The initiative, quote, aims to provide an opportunity for mother and child bonding and attachment, which is important for healthy growth, development, socialization, psychological development during an infant's formative years, while in a safe and secure environment, no date. Furthermore, the program lasts up to about 12 months, and during this time, incarcerated parents are taught proper nutrition, infant first aid, CPR, anger management, family unification procedures, according to the Texas Department of Justice, no date. And the second program is the Best for Baby peer education program encouraged by the state of Texas. As described in the Texas Prison Report, the program encompasses, various stages of development, such as pregnancy, postpartum, and essential childcare, offered in a course format for incarcerated persons. For example, one feature of the program is participating in physical stretches after the seminars to ease the discomforts of pregnancy. This Texas Commission Jail Report states that the program is offered at the following state facilities: Carroll Young, Crane, East Texas Treatment Facility, Hilltop, Murray, Daniel O'Daniel, the Plains State Jail Penitentiary, San Saba, and the Woodman State Jail. And again, this was a list compiled from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, 2024, pages 9 to 12. So moving on to our second case study, we have the state of California. And to examine California's state prison policies and discuss the most recent official policy concerning pregnant inmates and access to health care, we can refer to California Assembly Bill 2527, which was introduced in 2024. Within this bill, there's a comprehensive list, guiding list of procedures for granting health care to pre-birth, birth, and postpartum inmates. So, for example, an incarcerated person, this is Section E, by the way, shall be scheduled for prenatal care visits as follows, unless otherwise indicated by the physician, nurse practitioner, certified midwife, or physician assistant. 1, every 4 weeks, there shall be a visit between the first trimester of 24 to 28 weeks. Second, there will be every 2 weeks thereafter, up to 36 weeks gestation, and once a week thereafter until after birth. And again, this was the California Assembly Bill 2527, passed in 2024. So moreover, a few particular policies include within this act that a pregnant inmate shall not be put in solitary confinement, that the incarcerated person is allowed to elect a support member for labor, childbirth, postpartum, and recovery while hospitalized, while also ensuring the maximum level of privacy during birth. In addition, a person following birth will be provided a written list of programs, similar to the programs that we examined with Texas, for which they may be eligible. Again, this is California Assembly Bill 2527, which was passed in 2024. We've examined the relevant state codes regarding pre, during, and post-birth procedures within the state of California. Let's look at some of the initiatives or programs. And the Community Participant Mother Program, or CPMP, is the most notable program I found from research. As established by the California Penal Code, sections 3410 through 3424, under the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, no date. Now, the purpose of this program intends to focus on cultivating the relationship between child and parent during post-birth, while offering mental health treatment plans within a stable environment. For example, women are permitted to enter the care facility via application, so meaning that once you have been sentenced and are in a state prison, you will just apply to be transferred to one of these care facilities. And this is all according to the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation note date. Furthermore, according to a large report that was filed by the Legal Services for Prisoners with Children, or LSPC, which is a nonprofit, there are 6 mother-infant prison facilities within the state of California. Now, before I list these, it's important to note that this report is extensive and it's very detailed, so I encourage you to take a look at it. If I were to examine all the merits of the report here, the video would just be too absurdly long. But moving back onto the point, the 6 care facilities are the 3 family foundations, which are located in Fresno, Santa Fe Springs, and San Diego. Women are sent to one of these locations by their sentencing judge. The second is the Community Prisoner Mother Program, CPMP, which we covered previously. It consists of 3 facilities within California: Oakland, Sonoma, and Bakersfield. Now, these resources, like I said, come from the 2010 report by the Legal Services for Prisoners organization. I will link this report to the description of the video. As I said, the information presented within this report is a video in of itself. Since the broad policies and programs of each state have now been outlined, let's examine one of Now, since the broad policies and programs of each state have now been outlined, let's look at one policy recommendation made by a 2017 study done by researchers Sloffer, Stang, Dallaire, Forstel, and Heiderstraat. So the way it's going to work is I'm going to list out one of their critiques of the prison system's medical care concerning pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, and then through research what I found about each state's respective prison system, I'm going to apply it to see if they perhaps meet the standard and have overcome such criticisms. So the first one being that that pregnancy tests for inmates were not done consistently upon entry due to limited resources. Well, according to the American Civil Liberties Union, it notes that California, for example, cannot force a person to take a pregnancy test. It must remain a voluntary procedure, which perhaps could account for one of these disparities. However, conversely for Texas, a 2011 report also by the ACLU states that Texas and El Paso County jails screen inmates during the mental health screening initially. For example, in Bexar County Jail, our inmates are screened for pregnancy with urine test unless the inmate is postmenopausal or completes a refusal form, for instance. And this was according to a 2011 report by the American Civil Liberties Union. The second critique that researchers posit is that many prisons fail to provide prenatal vitamins containing vitamin D, folic acid, and iron, which may prevent neural tube defects and anemia. So according to the Texas Jail Project, if a pregnancy test does turn out to be positive, an incarcerated person may be eligible for vitamin supplements, no dates. Conversely, in California, a person can receive vitamins rich in iron, folic acid, and vitamin D by request, and this is according to the ACLU 2006. The third critique that researchers state is that surveyed prisons do not adjust the nutritional requirements for pregnant inmates throughout pregnancy, thus resulting in various nutritional deficiencies. In California, if the prison does not provide 3 meals daily, you are entitled to an extra carton of milk and snacks daily. This is according to the ACLU 2006. But conversely, in Texas, extra food is available under the previously described Bambi program, which is under the State of Texas Department of Justice, no date. Since we have outlined the case and the procedures for both the state of Texas and California, as well as its rebuttals to critiques by medical research, what can we infer from all this? Well, despite the various protections, programs, and opportunities that of course exist for pregnant inmates concerning pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, there are still problems with both systems. For example, multiple incidents have been reported within Texas state prisons over inmates being provided inadequate health products, MARF in 2019. Or in California, a woman in 2021 was forced to give birth alone in a prison cell out of neglect from prison staff, Canu 2022. Such incidents, of course, despite protection or codes, still occur, and it is a tragedy that they do. In conclusion, this video has analyzed the prison systems of both Texas and California and their developments in terms of incarcerated persons' access to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum resources. This includes the state codes all the way to, for instance, the rebuttals against medical research and how they are slowly advancing forward to a more humane system concerning this area of policy. However, nothing is infallible, and systems are subject to abuse, so we must remain proactive to ensure that human dignity is upheld and that the most vulnerable within our society are kept safe.